Hello friends, on 4 November 2025, Zohran Mamdani, a 34-year-old Democratic Socialist and State Assemblyman, won the mayoral election in New York City or NYC. He secured approximately 50.4% of the vote in a three-way race against former governor and independent candidate Andrew Cuomo and Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa. He is the city's first Muslim mayor, the first person of South Asian heritage in the office, and the youngest mayor since the 19th century. Mandani came into the race at a time when the United States is facing the resurgence of the MAGA style politics under Donald Trump. There are tensions over issues like inequality, housing affordability, and urban decline. Against this backdrop, his win signals a broader shift in progressive politics domestically. It may also resonate internationally among Western democracies facing similar debates. So, does this win amount to a pushback or a pivot in American politics? And can this success inspire change abroad? And what are the limits? Mamdani's election represents a significant symbolic defeat for the MAGA-style narrative of conservative ascendancy. His win underscores a popular backlash in an urban center that has felt left behind by rising costs and inequality. His campaign, built around taxing the wealthy, expanding social services, and rooting out establishment politics, stood in stark contrast to Trump's deregulation and populist nationalist style of conservatism. Zoran Mamdani promised to build 200,000 affordable homes, provide free childcare, make public transport free, and fund these plans by taxing millionaires and big corporations more. These ideas reflected his democratic socialist beliefs and his challenge to traditional politics. In the election, he won with 50.4% of the vote against Cuomo's 41.6% and Sliwa's 7.1%, with over 2 million people voting, the highest turnout since the 1960s. However, many of his plans depend on the state government's approval, limiting what he can actually do. His support base of young, immigrant, and working class voters may also be hard to replicate nationwide. As a pushback, Mamdani's election is an assertive rejection of both the Republican right and the moderate establishment wing of the Democratic Party. It signals that progressive left wing ideas still resonate even in a high stakes election in America's largest city. As a pivot, his win indicates the start of a broader shift in the Democratic Party toward more ambitious social economics reforms. For example, universal childcare, public transit, strong tax the rich measures, etc. If successful, it could pull the party leftwards and reshape national debate. However, the evidence suggests a limited firebrand effect, strong locally or regionally, but transformation on a national scale requires delivery, sustained governance, and overcoming institutional resistance. Mamdani's key promises were ambitious but costly. He aimed to build 200,000 affordable homes costing around 10 to 15 billion dollars a year, funded by a 2% tax on millionaires and city bonds, though this needs state approval. His universal childcare plan, costing about $6 billion yearly, relied on raising corporate taxes to around 11.5%, but faced staff and infrastructure shortages. Making buses free would cost $2 to $3 billion and require budget reallocation and union support, making it tough but possible. His rent control measures, being simpler and within city authority, have the best chance of success compared to his larger, costlier projects. If Mamdani successfully delivers, then his model could become a blueprint for other urban centers and incremental national influence. If not, his electoral coalition could fracture. Workers and young voters may drift if benefits don't materialize, and the moderates, centrists may resist being pulled left. Moreover, internal party dynamics matter. His victory exposed rifts between progressive insurgents and establishment Democrats. If Mamdani's administration clashes with moderate Democrats in Congress or the Senate, the push pivot dynamic could backfire and lead to fragmentation rather than consolidation. In short, domestically, his win points to a potent symbol of resistance, an urban sanctuary of resistance in some sense. But the real test will be governance and whether he can scale influence beyond NYC. Beyond the United States, the election of a young Muslim South Asian heritage democratic socialist to lead one of the globe's great cities sends ripples. In Western democracies grappling with inequality, austerity, backlash, immigration, and identity politics, Mamdani offers a model for an inclusive, bold, affordability first politics. For example, in France, where housing costs and tax the rich narratives are central in urban politics, especially Paris, Mamdani's style could embolden the left wing coalition to push more strongly for progressive urban agendas. In the United Kingdom, with rising cost of living pressures and housing policy debates under Starmer's leadership of Labour Party, the idea of free public transport or major social investment may gain traction by citing NYC's example. In Canada and Australia, urban centers already struggle with housing affordability. Mamdani's election sends a message to urban progressives. And the message is bold policies can win, especially when anchored in diverse coalitions. At the same time, it triggers right wing anxieties. Some media outlets elsewhere frame Mamdani's win as a sign of cultural threat, evoking fears of identity politics or socialism gone too far. In Germany, for example, where anti immigrant populism is a potent force, for example, the Alternative for Germany or AFD, the image of a Muslim major global city mayor may become a symbol around which reactionary forces rally. When Zohran Mamdani stormed into New York's mayoral race in 2025, he reopened a global conversation. Can the left rise again in an age of disillusionment, inequality, and populism? His campaign, that was rooted in democratic socialism, racial justice, and community empowerment, rekindled a political mood that had been fading since the early 2020s. So, could Mamdani's movement inspire a broader leftist resurgence across Western and Asian democracies? The answer is a cautious yes, but with qualifications. For almost 40 years, politics in Western democracies has followed a neoliberal path. Privatization, deregulation, and spending cuts presented as modern democracy. Whether led by Republicans or Democrats in the United States or conservatives or Labour in the United Kingdom, the focus stayed the same: protect big business and keep workers quiet. The 2008 financial crash, rising inequality, housing troubles, and climate fears weakened that model. Movements like Occupy Wall Street, Bernie Sanders campaigns, Jeremy Corbyn's labor surge, and AOC's squad showed growing anger, but none built a lasting political base. Mamdani's 2025 campaign signals a new movement, Municipal Socialism 2.0, a city level progressivism opposing both elite control and right wing nationalism. His slogan, A City for All of Us, spoke directly to daily struggles like unaffordable housing, insecure work, police overreach, and climate risks. By focusing on real issues instead of ideology, Mamdani united identity and class concerns, attracting young and minority voters frustrated with the old economic order. If this model spreads to cities like London, Toronto, or Paris, it could reshape future national politics. Zoran Mamdani's ideas and identity have global roots. He is the son of a Ugandan scholar, Mahmoud Mamdani, and Indian filmmaker Meera Nair, which makes him a blend of cultures, equally at home in Brooklyn and Bangalore. His criticism of capitalism draws on Western Marxist ideas, but his sense of justice and equality is closer to thinkers like Ambedkar, Fanon, and Nehru. This mix gives the politics a worldwide appeal. In Asia, where democracy often works alongside crony capitalism, Mamdani's bottom up socialism offers an alternative to both right wing nationalism and elite liberalism. India's Aam Aadmi Party once carried a similar spirit but lost its reformist focus. Across Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Japan, and South Korea, frustration with inequality and corruption is growing, yet the left lacks strong voices. Mamdani represents not old style Marxism but a modern moral leftism, which is democratic, inclusive, and digital, and which combines social, economic, and environmental justice. The global left faces three big challenges. First, institutional capture, wherein neoliberal capitalism dominates government systems, finance, and media, making it hard for progressive leaders to compete when money, ads, and news all favor the powerful. Second, voter cynicism, in which years of broken promises by centrist and socialist leaders have left working people disillusioned. Many now turn to apathy or right wing populism instead of the left. As writer Mark Fisher noted, people can imagine the end of the world more easily than the end of capitalism. And third, internal divisions wherein left movements often split over race, gender, environment, and class, which weakens the unity. Asian democracies, especially India, can learn valuable lessons from Zoran Mamdani's rise. His success shows that real change often starts locally. In India, most opposition parties chase national power while ignoring the potential of city governments. Yet, urban administrations manage crucial issues like housing, transport, health, and pollution. These are the areas where visible progress can rebuild public trust. Mamdani also used digital tools differently. His campaign turned social media into a space for participation, not propaganda, where supporters became co organizers. In contrast, Asian campaigns often rely on flashy marketing instead of genuine community building. Another lesson lies in how he spoke about socialism. Mamdani avoided complex theory and instead used moral ideas, fairness, dignity, and belonging that people could relate to. Asian progressives could do the same by using familiar cultural ideas like seva or service, samta or equality, and nyaya or justice. His impact goes beyond America. With roots in Uganda and India, Mamdani challenges the idea that socialism belongs only to the West. As historian Vijay Prasad reminds us, the Global South's original mission was solidarity, not dependency. If Mamdani's ideas inspire diaspora communities from London to Toronto, they could shape a new kind of global, people driven progressivism. Mamdani's rise is unlikely to spark an immediate global leftist resurgence. The political climate remains dominated by neoliberal structures, media bias, and a fragmented left. Yet his success has rekindled a vital element, and that is moral imagination. The vision of a society built on care and fairness rather than profit and competition. By inspiring grassroots movements through digital networks, diaspora activism, and local governance, Mamdani offers a fresh model for reclaiming politics from cynicism. If the 2010s were the age of populists, the 2020s could mark the rise of postcolonial progressives, leaders who connect the ideals of Marx and Ambedkar, Brooklyn and Bangalore. His campaign blends inclusivity with cultural rootedness, showing how socialism can be reimagined in moral and human terms. Still, entrenched oligarchies, right wing populism, and media narratives of foreign interference may limit his momentum or this momentum. Globally, Mamdani's win is more inspirational than transformative. It provides a compelling blueprint for inclusive, intersectional urban politics, but translating that vision into national or transnational movements remains difficult. The power of local governance is limited, and backlash against global progressive solidarity is real. Even so, Mamdani's moral and cultural clarity might yet plant seeds for the left's quiet renewal. In case you liked my video, please hype my video by pressing the hype button. Also, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you.